Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, 5 research-based ways to add more happiness to your life.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
Which came first, Mary-Lynn? Happiness or success?
Boy,
The correct answer is happiness, because that's the first one I said. Happiness or success.
Well,
I
that's how
fooled
you
you,
do
see?
it.
Yes, exactly. Well, you know, we're going to find out today. Actually, we've got some studies that show which one came first. And I found the results somewhat surprising. So we'll share that more today. I'm George Kruger, a.k.a. the Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn. So a new study of 1 million people.
1 million people.
1 million people shows that happiness will make you much more successful. So
Isn't that
happiness
interesting?
comes before success.
We've answered the question.
Yes,
I guess
we
podcast is over.
And just to let you know, before we get into this, because 5 research-based ways, we really are pulling out all the research in each of the ways that we're going to share today. And you can find the links to all of the research with your show notes. So the research that we just cited about the 1 million people recently appeared in the Journal of Happiness Studies. And it was based on this study of about 1 million soldiers over 5 years, measuring both their well-being upon entering the Army and then their performance over time.
Now, the research team said that while they expected that well-being and optimism would matter to performance, they were surprised by how much it mattered. And, you know, Mary-Lynn, it reminds me of, we've talked about studies about self-made millionaires. And a lot of times you'll see that self-made millionaires have certain traits. And so you ask the question, which came first, like we're doing today.
The millions or the trait.
Yes. And the fact is, the trait always comes first in every study I've ever seen. Now, here what we're doing is we're taking this and going beyond money to, let's bring a little more meaningful into it. You know, your well-being, your optimism, those kinds of things, your happiness. And what we're seeing is the traits matter even before the success.
Right. They come into play as far as your performance and how well you advance and succeed.
Exactly. And so when you look at the difference in this study between those who reported themselves as the happiest,
The soldiers who were the happiest, and compared to those
right
who
at the
weren't as
front,
happy.
compared to those who were the most happy, the ones who were the happiest won 4 times as many awards during that period of time that when they were evaluating them. So this stuff works, right? This stuff works. So the revelation, it's important for entrepreneurs to consider, because we often think that we will feel happiness when we achieve our big goals. The reality is, this research shows that we need to be happy now in order to reach those big goals. And that's big with 2 G's, baby.
All right. So now that we've kind of set the baseline here on this study of 1 million people and showing that happiness really does have an impact on your overall performance, let's pull out the professor's whiteboard for 5 research-based ways to add more happiness to your life.
I'd be happier if this closet was cleaned out, I'll tell you that much.
I'd be happier too.
Somehow I knew you'd say that, Mary-Lynn.
We talk about it every week. Maybe one of these days.
Yeah,
All
it's one of these days.
5 research-based ways to have more happiness in your life. Number 1 is to get moving. So in a study published in The Lancet, scientists collected data about the physical behavior and mental mood of over 1 million Americans. So here we are again talking about over 1 million Americans. And it had to do with their exercise.
I don't know how they counted that high.
What's that?
I ran out of fingers and toes. I don't know how they count that high. 1.2 million people. Come
They
on.
added the nose and hair strands.
Well, so what they found was that those who exercised regularly reported having fewer bad days, less stress, less depression, compared to inactive participants.
Well, I can tell you that, you didn't even have to study 1 million people. You could just study the 2 of us.
Yes.
I mean, our moods are so much better when we exercise regularly. And then those weeks where we are lagging, we both feel a little bit more down.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you think of exercise as just physical. but it's the mental and emotional benefits that really kick in, is what we're finding. So,
yeah. And going back to the Lancet study, it doesn't have to be a lot of exercise either in order to have these results. According to a review in the Journal of Happiness Studies, if people exercised at least 30 minutes on most days, they were about 30% more likely to consider themselves happy than people who didn't meet those guidelines. But those who only got 10 minutes a day of physical activity also experienced better moods. So now here's the reason not to just say, well, I can't get a 30 minute or 20-minute walk in. I'm just going to blow it off. I mean, even 10 minutes can help elevate your mood.
Yeah, and researchers said that the type of exercise didn't seem to matter either. So, I mean, I guess I read that as...
You don't have to go run a marathon.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I even think, Mary-Lynn, like, you could walk in place. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether you go for a walk, a jog, you stretch, just get moving. That's the whole thing. Our first point, get moving. And by the way, I'm taking notes on this, Mary-Lynn, so, I'm making sure we get the message,
too. You keep
too.
repeating it to yourself.
I do.
And all of us. Okay. 5 research-based ways to add more happiness to your life. Number 2, get out in nature. Well, this is a piece of cake, right? But it's interesting. Researchers in Finland found that those who went for at least a 15-minute walk through a park or a forest reported stress relief.
Yeah, and as a result of the study, public health officials in Finland now recommend that citizens get 5 hours a month minimum in the woods in order to stave off depression. And Mary-Lynn, I guess this one we're pretty good at because I think we get out, we're very lucky in that we live in a small city. We can literally, or should I say literally, we can literally be in the country, quote unquote, in a matter of minutes. And we've got these cool rivers and stuff around here. They're not massive rivers, but there's water moving and that kind of stuff. We've got some cool lakes. And we just got some cool places to be beside water, which we like in nature. And it really does pick up the spirit.
Absolutely. And when we deny ourselves that opportunity to get out in nature, it does have an impact.
It does.
And in her book, The Nature Fix, Florence Williams demonstrates that even small amounts of exposure to nature can improve our creativity and enhance our mood.
So you might say that with nature, you can nurture yourself to a more happy life.
Yeah.
There you go. So the bottom line is that Mother Nature increases a sense of well-being, and it has a positive effect on our sense of meaning and purpose. So get outside for more happiness.
Research-based ways to get more happiness in your life. Number 3 is serve others. So research published by a team of psychologists at the University of Missouri-Columbia suggests that our own happiness is in large part,
or big part,
big with 2 G's, is influenced by the kindness and generosity we show to others.
Scientific studies also show that helping others contributes to happiness in different ways, including increasing our sense of meaning and satisfaction with life, boosting self-confidence, and reducing stress. So it just goes to show you, if you can be of service to others, and you're going to get more happiness. Or as we like to say, because, big success is all about thinking like an entrepreneur, whether or not you ever, plan on starting your own business or not, or owning your own business, but we add value in the lives of others, and in doing so, we create value for ourselves. That's the entrepreneurial approach, and that's an approach that everybody can use for more satisfaction in life.
I love that. All right, we're on to number 4 now. The 4th way to add more happiness to your life is to make time for friends and hobbies.
Yeah, so Ed Diener, he's one of the coolest positive psychologists you'll ever meet, because he's here at the University of Illinois, our home school,
where the professor teaches.
And then Martin Seligman, one of the patriarchs of positive psychology. These two are giants in the industry, in this whole industry of happiness and well-being and everything. They found that the happiest people were highly social and had the strongest relationship ties. In fact, what they say is good social relations are necessary for people to feel happy.
Here's why you should not put off calling your best friend. Make that phone call. Make time for that today. Make that connection a priority for more happiness.
Now, as far as hobbies go, research shows that people who engage in hobbies enjoy better moods, feel more interested, and have less stress.
Dr. Carol Bernstein, a past president of the American Psychiatric Association, says hobbies can actually help us recover from stress.
Yeah, and she adds that it doesn't matter if you're bad at your hobby.
That's good.
Yes.
Because you want to pick up a hobby, and obviously you're not going to be good at it at first, right? If I want to learn painting or something like that, you're going to kind of suck at it, and so you don't want that to stress you out.
Yes, I remember when I first started golfing, and I had this pretty big slice, and for some reason I thought that the balconies of the houses up in the distance, the condos that were on the golf course, I thought those were my targets. Not the flag down the fairway, right? So,
right. This is like a whole new study of George and golfing and how he's creating stress and unhappiness for people around the golf course.
Oh, yes.
That's for a different show.
Yes.
But anyway, in this case, if you do take up golfing, whatever it is that you do, finding that hobby leads to happiness.
Yeah, and you do have to make an investment in your hobbies. But the whole idea of it is it's something you enjoy doing so much that you kind of enter what's called a flow state.
Right. We've talked about this before.
We've talked about this before, but the point is...
And that flow state means that you get lost in it.
You get lost in it.
Lost in it, and then in that process sometimes solutions to other problems that are outlying will come to you.
Absolutely, because all of a sudden what's been pushed to the subconscious now becomes part of the conscious. Absolutely.
It's weird how the mind works, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And that brings us to our last research-based way to add more happiness to your life. Number 5 is to practice gratitude. In a study about counting blessings versus burdens, researchers found that those who journaled about things that they were grateful for, we talked about this around Thanksgiving, that people who journaled about the things that they are grateful for had much higher levels of well-being compared to those who didn't.
Yeah, and another study showed that a grateful attitude is also associated with less depression, less stress, less anxiety, better sleep, a better mood. I mean, the hits just keep on coming. So start a gratitude journal, and you're going to have a happier life.
Let's review our 5 research-based ways to add more happiness to your life. Number 1, get moving, and it doesn't matter how much, even 5 minutes will help you feel better. Number 2, get out in nature, and if you don't have a park or a forest nearby, there's got to be a tree somewhere.
That's right.
Just go
Worst
admire
case
the
scenario,
tree.
Look at cool nature photos on your computer if you have to, right? That's kind of not the full purpose, but it's better than nothing.
Right. Number 3, serve others. Number 4, make time for friends and hobbies. And number 5, practice gratitude.
So which comes first, happiness or success? It turns out that happiness now brings more success later. That leads to big success.
You know, another great way to add happiness is to be true to yourself. You might want to take our life purpose quiz. It's free, and you'll find it a big success. That's big with 2 G's, success.com.
And I'll tell you what's made us happy. Just the fact that you took the time to listen to our show today. We thank you so much. Special shout out, a big shout out to all of our listeners in Des Moines, Iowa.
You know, one of the studies that we referenced today said that the happiest people were highly social and had the strongest relationship ties. How can you have a strong network that helps lift you to success? Find out the 6 types of people that you need to connect with in our podcast next week. And until then, here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.